Thousands of Oregon residents left in the dark for much of today after a wet and windy storm slammed the Pacific Northwest. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Frank Malakode. Residents and businesses in the Portland metro area have been without power almost all day today, while some are starting to see electricity kick back up. Fox 12's Julia Lopez gives us a look at how some residents had to adapt and others may be left out in the dark for a little bit longer.
The crews behind me have worked all day to get this power line restored. Now, we couldn't film inside the store, but I can tell you that it was much darker than usual, despite some overhead lights that I'm told are powered by a generator. All the fridges and freezers were off, leaving some shoppers coming up short.
I thought that it was like a crime scene at first or something.
Storms brought strong winds through the Portland metro area overnight, taking down trees and power lines with it. Early this morning, more than 27,000 people lost power, according to PGE. One impacted customer, Fred Meyer on Southeast Hawthorne. Video overnight shows the downed tree and power line that left the store in the dark.
Well, it's really dark in there. There wasn't much stuff on the shelves. I couldn't get milk or cheese or anything, so I just grabbed some sad-looking produce and bread and got out.
Employees say they spent the day working non-stop to move meats, dairy, and other perishable items into these freezer trucks in the parking lot. Meanwhile, Southeast 38th Avenue was closed to customers.
I walked around the side and I saw all the trucks that blocked off the whole road there, so I couldn't get through this way. Had to go through the other way, and came inside and all the lights were off, and it just looks cool.
As crews worked to get the fridges back on.
I kind of just wanted a drink, and all the freezers, or not the freezers, like the refrigerators were closed down, and me and my friend, we went upstairs and the escalators were fully shut down as well.
A few miles north on Northeast Cadet Avenue, one homeowner woke to find their driveway collapsed. They didn't want to go on camera, but told me no one was hurt. Portland fire officials say a retaining wall couldn't keep up with water draining from the storm. The slide pushed a tree into this power line. Officials say a reminder to steer clear of downed trees because you never know when an impacted wire might be live.
And that was Fox 12's Julia Lopez reporting that stormy weather led to downed trees along the Oregon coastline, resulting in thousands of customers near Cannon Beach losing their power. But one business won't let that stop them from operating, at least for the time being. Owners of the Driftwood Restaurant and Lounge say they pride themselves in leaving their doors open during outages like these as a way to support the coastal community all around them. Normally bustling town, the outages have forced businesses in downtown Cannon Beach to shut down. Owners of the Driftwood say they're relying on a small generator to keep businesses running as usual, but that's leaving them to offer a limited candlelight menu.
Kitchen, we have gas stove, so they're able to heat the hot water and get us some soup and stuff like that, but mostly it's just salads and some cold sandwiches. We're doing good. You know, we're kind of used to this, you know, in that we know most of our employees have been here a really long time, so they've experienced this before.
Power crews in the state have been working to get that power back on. At last check, still over 3,000 residents along the coast are without power in Oregon, with over 2,000 outages reported in the Portland metro area. Sierra Ski Resorts in California saw a white Christmas and more snow is on its way. Light snow was falling at Palisades Tahoe Resort this afternoon. They say the holidays are off to a great start with nearly a foot of fresh snow in just the past week, and almost all of their lifts are open now. There will be a winter weather advisory in the Lake Tahoe area until noontime tomorrow. Chains are required if you're heading up tonight on Interstate 80 and Highway 50. Police in Arizona arrested a man after a shooting at Sky Harbor Airport in Phoenix, Arizona. Police say the man showed up at the airport with a gun last night after he reportedly received a text message about an active shooter at Sky Harbor. He got into an altercation with an officer shortly after arriving on the scene. Nobody was hurt as a result of the incident. A shirtless man was booked into jail, but police have not released his name just yet. Authorities say the event was, quote, completely unrelated incident to a shooting that happened yesterday in which 3 people were shot. One person was stabbed outside a security checkpoint at a restaurant within the same airport. Police believe a family dispute ignited the event, but the shirtless man was not part of it. Also in Arizona, crews continue to battle the important fire burning in northern Arizona. Right now, 150 workers are putting out hot spots and holding the fire lines north of Highway 260. That fire remains 15% contained. Over 900 acres have burned thus far northeast of the town of Payson. Several communities remain set on evacuation status due to the human-caused fire. Fire crews say increased smoke will likely be visible in the surrounding areas for the next few days. And drivers caught on camera swerving around a newly installed speed cushion meant to cut down on reckless driving in the southeast Las Vegas Valley. Fox 5's Sean Dowling brings us a look at the county's efforts to help curb rising street racing takeovers. Are they actually making a difference?
Anybody that's swerving at this speed here, and what is the general speed here? 25 miles per hour. I rarely see anybody do 25 miles per hour here. It would be rare.
Take it from Jean Kelleher, who's been in the valley for decades. Kelleher tells me she usually sees drivers going close to 45 miles per hour in the area, but that's not all.
Almost predictably, I can hear the street racing up where I am. It wakes me up at about 2:30, between 2 and 3, almost every night.
She's not surprised to see video of driver after driver swerving out of the way the very day the speed bumps were installed. County Public Works crews put them in on December 19th. Fast forward to a few days later, and it's still happening in each direction on Lamb, north of Hacienda. The county also cut out sections of asphalt in the intersection. The milling work will tear up tires if drivers try doing donuts. County Commissioner Jim Gibson says he understands there might be pushback.
We're hoping that the citizens can handle the speed cushions and they don't feel like this ruins their drive home. At the same time, if it does a little bit, that at least the price was worth paying in order to bring a lot more safety to this roadway and this intersection.
Kelleher says the fix is a nice start.
I think that this particular area is ready to really go with the most drastic measure we could do and then ease back rather than start easy and move to something more aggressive. Most people here would rather start aggressive and then ease off when needed.
I'm Sean Dowling, Fox 5 News, local.
A popular brand of eye drops is being recalled nationwide due to a possible contamination. FDA announced Alcon Laboratories is recalling one lot of Sustain lubricant eye drops Ultra PF. FDA says the recall is over concerns of a potential fungal contamination. The recall was issued after a consumer noticed a foreign material inside a sealed single-use vial. A fungal contamination reaching the eye could threaten vision. Right now, the FDA says the lab has not yet received reports of any adverse reactions related to the recall. FDA says consumers who have the product should return them to the place of purchase for a replacement or a full refund. A Washington-based animal sanctuary was forced to close to the public after 20 big cats died from contracting bird flu earlier this month. The director of the Wild Fillet Advocacy Center of Washington making that announcement on their social media pages. The sanctuary is closed for now to quarantine the other animals there. Among the dead cats is a Bengal tiger, several cougars, and bobcats. The director says he and his staff remain healthy because they're using PPE.
Our gloves, disinfectants, bleach, and N95 masks, and these gowns are like $10 each. We got to wear, and they're disposable.
The CDC says the virus is causing outbreaks in poultry, dairy cows, and cats. There is even 65 confirmed reported cases among humans here in the U.S. The Washington State Department of Health says there are currently 11 confirmed human cases and that all of those cases are linked to infected poultry exposure. Well, the Starbucks strike has expanded to hundreds of stores nationwide now. An estimated 5,000 employees are involved at more than 300 stores all across 45 states. They are all now on strike, calling for better pay and working conditions. It's believed to be the largest walkout to ever hit the coffee giant. Workers United says Starbucks backtracked from prior commitments and claims the company is proposing a wage increase that would amount to less than 50 cents an hour for most baristas.
We still have hundreds of unresolved unfair labor practice complaints against Starbucks, and we have also not reached a bargaining agreement with them. They have failed to offer us a viable, serious economic proposal.
A spokesperson for Starbucks says the walkouts have had minimal effect on their operations. Company claims it has offered a competitive average pay of over $18 per hour and benefits to include health care, free college tuition, paid family leave, and stock grants. A young single mother in Beaverton, Oregon is very grateful tonight after a nonprofit gave her and her young daughter gifts for the holidays. The Youth Villages program helps young adults as they age out of foster care. They hosted a gift opening party this year where people in the program received gifts for themselves and their kids. Marlia Johnson was accepted into the Youth Villages program after bouncing around family homes, foster care, and youth detention centers. Marlia got a vacuum from Youth Villages for Christmas, and her daughter, Kiara, got a baby step stool tower.
She was born around Thanksgiving and Christmas time, so it was kind of just God telling me, like, hey, there is something that's beautiful about this. Like, yes, life was hard back then, but it's beautiful now.
Youth Villages has also helped Marlia and her daughter find an apartment and supports them with resources all year round. Well, two Utah brothers fortunate to spend the holidays at home after a near-death experience in an avalanche. We're going to hear from an expert weighing in on that incident. And an avalanche forecasting program in Washington now in jeopardy. Coming up, why it poses a major risk.
And we are tracking the rain that is moving into the Pacific Northwest. Strong winds expected tonight as well. The forecast coming up.
Welcome back. Some very scary moments all caught on camera when a monstrous wave crashes into a surfer. Ty Simpson Kane was surfing off Maui's North Shore in Hawaii when he was wet with this super-sized wave. In the video, you can see him flip several times before disappearing under the wave and all that white water. Thankfully, he came out alive and was brought back to safety with the help of some emergency personnel on hand. The surfer took to social media describing the encounter as one of the heaviest wipeouts he has ever experienced. Lucky to be alive. And in Utah, officials are calling it a Christmas miracle after two brothers narrowly escaped an avalanche on Christmas Eve, making it home safe and sound. Fox 13's Chris Arnold has the story.
Those guys had a very, very lucky Christmas Eve.
Toby Weed is a forecaster with the Utah Avalanche Center. He's describing an incident that took place late Tuesday morning.
It was a party of two brothers, and they went out for a ride into the Steep Hollow area. One of them was riding across the slope or side hilling across a fairly large bowl when he triggered the avalanche.
Weed says that avalanche came down and caught one of the brothers.
Was carried about 150 yards by the snow before he was buried down below.
He says luckily both men had all of the equipment necessary for backcountry travel.
The brother who was not buried used his transceiver to find the brother who was buried. And it got him pretty close. And when he got close enough, he could see a couple fingers sticking out of the snow of his brother. And was able to dig him out.
Weed says the man who was buried had minor injuries. Both men were able to ride out of the backcountry. A much different outcome compared to another avalanche that happened in Cache County 16 years ago on Christmas Eve.
A party of four young men rode up Providence Canyon and only about maybe 15 minutes from Logan when one of the party or two of the party of four triggered the avalanche.
Two of the riders, 22-year-old Eric Jorgensen and 23-year-old Jesse Johnson, both from Utah, were killed. Weed spoke about some things that can be done to avoid those scenarios.
Number one, always access and read the forecast. The forecast that day, it was a considerable avalanche, as it is avalanche danger. And that's actually the same danger that it is here in Logan today.
And from Utah, we go to Washington now. The Northwest Avalanche Center has issued warnings for Stevens and Snoqualmie passes due to snow and a lot of wind, creating dangerous conditions for large avalanches there. But staffing at the center is in jeopardy. Each winter, a team of 11 scientists is responsible for forecasting risk in that region, but the Northwest Avalanche Center is in the arm of the Forest Service. meaning it can't function without federal funds. They have 3 meteorologists on staff year-round, and each winter, as powder builds up on the passes, they bring on at least 8 more seasonal workers. But those 8 positions were suddenly put in jeopardy when the chief of the Forest Service announced a seasonal hiring freeze.
Our Avalanche Center is not a fully funded program. It's done on a shoestring budget, and it's an essential public safety program for tens of millions of people across the West.
The small crew is responsible for making life and death decisions that dictate how the state's Department of Transportation plans on whether to shut down highways in the state or detonate explosives on slope sides. Let's check in now with our chief meteorologist, Bill Martin, on what has been kind of a wacky weather week, Bill.
Yeah, it really has. The West Coast has been getting hit pretty hard with a little bit of everything, not just waves, but rain and snow in the mountains. This is the Golden Gate Bridge live right now, San Francisco. Temperatures are in the 50s. The rain is coming down. It's especially heavy in the North Bay, where a flood advisory has just been issued for areas near the Russian River. It shouldn't be a problem, but that just gives you an indication of how hard the rain is coming down. The national map shows pretty much quiet, except out west, where all the rain is coming down. Pacific Northwest getting heavy showers right now. Heavy showers in the northern part of California, and the showers stop once you get south of Point Conception, which is way down there. And so the Southern California region, they're having warm temperature or warm daytime highs, dry conditions, right? They need a break, get some rain in there, and they're not seeing it. This sort of atmospheric moisture is centered more towards the northern part of the western United States. So from San Francisco north, essentially. Seattle today was 53 degrees, scattered showers there. The wind comes up significantly for the Northern California and parts of Southern Oregon pretty aggressively. So the winds tonight are going to be 40, 45 miles an hour as this system comes on shore. Tomorrow, more rain. Again, you see the cutoff point is San Francisco. And then more rain, but still showing north into Saturday. So that's just how it's going to be. Everybody else, Denver and Phoenix and Southern California, you guys are high and dry. Rainfall accumulations, just a rough estimate, but you know, in some parts of the Northern California region, up around Eureka, they could get 4 or 5 inches of rain. And that flood advisory in the out by the Russian River is an indication of that potential. These are the forecast numbers. Pardon me. This is the current temperature. The high temperature today in Phoenix, which is pretty nice, 65. The low temperature will be down into the, obviously into the upper 50s, mid 50s. These are the forecast numbers for a couple stations on the western seaboard, and you do see big surf continuing along the coast. Those waves are going to stay big right for the next 72 hours, maybe even a little beyond that. There you go. There's your West Coast wrap weather.
Alrighty, Bill, thank you for that. Coming up, a Las Vegas veteran makes it a mission to get back to an organization that helped him turn his life around. How he's helping another veteran family after a very difficult loss. Plus, a Utah winter tradition hits a slight bump in the road after a rather unusual warm winter. Tonight, a look behind the scenes of the preparation for the beloved ice castles as the West Coast Wrap continues. Back now at 7:23 this holiday season, a local veteran is giving back to a program he says helped turn his life around. Fox 5's Molly McBride has our story.
One box at a time, Imperial Auto and Truck Operations Manager Jeremy Kiner is staying busy this holiday season, giving back to a place he says helped turn his life around. The North Las Vegas VA's Residential Recovery and Renewal Center.
Well, I've been up there probably 8 times in the last month, so twice a week basically, yeah, which is a good feeling. It gives me a purpose and I enjoy it very much.
Kiner is a United States Marine Corps veteran. He tells me the VA helped him through a substance use disorder.
I stayed for 45 days, and then, you know, as I look back, the rest is just history. There was a lot of outpatient therapy after that, and I still, to this day, am in therapy. And
now that he's back on his feet, he's taking every opportunity to return the favor. collecting clothing donations at his auto shop and delivering them by hand. This week, he delivered an extra special donation from a Henderson woman who lost her husband in July. She didn't want to go on camera, but tells me because she won't be Christmas shopping for her husband this year, she wanted to buy and donate the clothing instead. Her husband was an Air Force veteran. She wanted to take the donation to the VA herself, but memories made it too emotional. That's when Kiner stepped in to deliver it for her.
It was real emotional for her and for me, you know, because it meant a lot to her. I could see how much it meant to her to bring those clothes. You know, you meet a lot of great people, and she was one of them for sure.
She tells me Kiner saved her not only gas, but tears, and that her husband would have loved to see how this story turned out. Reporting in Henderson, Molly McBride, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
Today is the first day of Quanza, the annual celebration of African American culture, which was started in California. To celebrate the holiday, the California Black Agriculture Working Group gathered at the state capitol today. They hosted a prayer and discussed the importance of connecting with ancestors. Quanza was started back in 1966 by Dr. Karenga, a professor of African American Studies at Cal State Long Beach. Each day is dedicated to one of the 7 principles represented with a candle. Attendees at the Capitol say the holiday is all about cultural pride.
So long, we've had such a dark cloud over our culture. We didn't have the opportunity to be proud of ourselves. So that's what Quanza is all about, is just focus on us as a people being proud of ourselves and being able to share that with the world and the community.
This California-grown holiday is now celebrated all across the world. Well, despite it being a warmer month than usual for Utah residents, workers made sure an annual winter attraction went on as planned. The ice castles in the town of Midway have been an annual Utah tradition for more than 10 years now. What's normally set to open before Christmas Eve, this year they debuted a bit later due to the recent warm temperatures in that area. But even with unseasonably warm temps, the ice structure is nearly complete, equipped with some new features.
We do try to change things every year, different sculptures, different layout. This year we're super excited to introduce fire, so we'll have some fire shows going.
We actually come out onto the field in like October and we start laying out the design, but we work on stuff throughout the summer to figure out where everything is going to be.
When it all comes together, the ice castles produce an illuminated winter wonderland. An opening date has not been determined just yet, but crews hope the ice castles will be ready in the coming days. Thanks for joining us tonight here on the West Coast Wrap. You can stay up to date on all our stories we're covering online. Just go to westcoastwrap.com and stream all your shows on your smart TV by downloading the Fox Local app. I'm Frank Malakote. Have a great night, everybody, and a great holiday week. We'll be back tomorrow.